I'm surprised that, well, at least you and Deanna are getting along. Talking about something that you
Oh, it's already fine.
Huh?
All of this is cause for great celebration. This is a story about us. These early Europeans were people like you and me. It's humbling when you see the challenges they faced. People like you and me overcame the outsiders. People like you and me made it through the Ice Age. These beings with soaring imagination, eventually found themselves and their machines.
Welcome, everyone, and this is the Drexel Free Thought Society weekly podcast. That you just heard was Symphony of Science, Children of Africa, the story about us. The Drexel Free Thought Society owns this song in absolutely no way, and we do not derive any profit from it, and all credit possible goes to the Symphony of Science. My name is Dave McDevitt, I run this organization, and today we are talking about humans. What makes us that? And Dante, who was interrupting the opening song,
Sorry.
is right across from me.
Hi, I'm the Vice President of the Drexel Free Thought Society, and if you want a really quick definition of what I think makes us human, and it might not be satisfying to most people, but it'll get a little deeper. I think what makes us human is simply our genetic code. I mean,
Why overcomplicate things?
but don't worry. I'm not just gonna say that and go. I mean, I'm pretty sure that when we think of being human, we tend to attribute certain behaviors to being human.
I don't know. That would be kind of fantastic. It's like, what makes us human? A, B. I just read off all of our tiny little genetic differences.
and
that 1% that makes us different than chimps, and then we go home.
I mean, you could look at it that way, but I'm pretty sure people want to know more about, well, what is human nature? I
guess that's important.
What a lot of people are really
people.
touching on. Yeah, what is human nature? Like, some people think that it's in our nature to be social and hang out together and be really friendly. Some people think it's human nature to kill. So I think we should definitely delve into that. And I remember you noticed in your description, you said something about how Christianity tries to claim what humanity actually is. So how do they do that?
All right, so I run a YouTube channel, and shameless plug, Dater Lucum. Look it up; it's awesome. Everyone should listen to it. Anyway,
it's pretty cool.
There was this list of 22 questions that creationists ask people that believe in evolution. The questions themselves don't really matter, except for this one. It says that, how do you have a purpose in life without salvation?
Oh, man.
And when I read that, my reaction was just like, do people actually think this? That the point of being alive, the point of being human, is to seek constant forgiveness for something.
Yes, that is what they think.
That was appalling. I am sorry, but if that is your idea of life, then you don't have a life.
Or it's not very eventful.
No, well, I'm flat out saying, you don't have a life. You have a manufactured idea that you have latched onto. You have someone else telling you what your life is. And what's weird is if you have, those children that are brought up by the super demanding, almost to the level of abusive parents, mm-hmm. that are like, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to this college, it's exactly the same to me.
Oh,
and what's weird is those people we automatically think are jerks. No one says yep, those are good parents right there. Most people are just like, yeah, those parents should back off, let their children think for themselves. Not with religion. With religious belief, you're just like, yep, teaching them morals.
And part of that is fear. Because people think that, the deity created us and he can destroy us. So we better just abide and obey and be like, you know what, let's just praise him for setting us up like this. And I think that's just... it's tyrannical. Because think about it. If you're a deity and you create human beings for the sole purpose of them saving themselves from the very thing that you created, which really makes no sense to me, then you're not very omnibenevolent at all. You're just just creating things for the sole purpose of
what's the famous line? It's like, God sent His only begotten Son to sacrifice Himself to Himself to forgive people of the curse that He put on them.
Basically, yeah.
No, that He put on them for making them in such a way to deserve that curse to begin with. Sounds a little fishy to me.
But you can't tell them that. Hello. How you doing?
Hey, who are you?
Good. You guys got this place?
Yeah, we have a reserve.
Oh, thanks.
That's okay.
I thought you were joining us.
You can.
I'm working on some homework. Appreciate it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Have fun.
That darn homework, I tell you.
This is what we get for doing this in a room without a closing door. Anyway, we are, as you can tell, we are a college group, so we have to we reserve a space to record these podcasts. We don't have a studio. I just have a pile of wires coming out of my tiny laptop.
And it still works.
It still works. Sort of awesome. Oh, in this short interlude between our talking points, I want to remind everyone that this is a talk call-in show, even though we basically never have people calling in. You can call in during any part of the show, honestly,
Have
but
faith.
no. You can call in at any point in the show, but we asked to do it in the second half during our chat portion. But at any time, you can email us at drexfreethought@gmail.com, or you can message our Facebook, or you can message us on our website, or you can message us on our Twitter. Hell, you can even message us on our YouTube channel. But then the fun one is during the second half of the show, you can join us on Skype, just Drexel Freethought, all one word, and call us. Let us know what you think.
Please do so.
That means you, Johnny.
So, just real quick, tell them about
All right. Okay.
Johnny.
So this is just a side note, and I really don't want to make it the point of the show, but I just find it really funny. On the evolution versus creationism open debate page on Facebook, which I'm a member, excellent page. It's admin pretty well. I really enjoy being on there. There's a particular person named Johnny. I will not give last names because I don't remember it. And he gave an open challenge to anyone to debate him. So here it is. I challenge you, Johnny, right now. I gave you the challenge in front of many witnesses. So you are very free to call in during the later half of the show. I'll be waiting.
There's one of those attributes that humans supposedly have, cowardice.
What's great, though, is he called me a coward because I wouldn't debate him on his terms.
On his terms.
Basically, like a one-on-one debate style over Skype.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give you the power to pretty much say your little spiel, then run away like a child. So you can call into this show, in which I have another person here to basically make sure that I can't run away.
And he won't. But
And I won't.
But we'll make sure it's the case.
But yeah, so there you go, Johnny. Everyone is waiting for you.
Wasn't there a question on the 22 creationists thing? It was said something about the sunset. No, it wasn't sunset. No, we talked about the salvation one. There was another question that kind of dealt with the purpose of life and being human.
This is a really general thing. Is just that how do you have a purpose without a creator? And to that, I would basically say, how do orphans have a purpose without knowing their parents? Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense? Do orphan children have no purpose in life because they happen not to know their biological parents? Like, all those questions were just like misdirections, or just flat out misunderstandings of science.
They were huge assumptions too.
Now, two of them were the whole thermodynamics. And it's like, don't argue a point if you don't know what it is. I actually saw a counter to the question. It showed a picture of, like, I think it was the integral of, like, temperature over distance over time.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think I'm butchering it, but it's a fundamental, like, function of thermodynamics.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, if you don't understand, or at the very least, if you can't read this equation, then you shouldn't talk about it.
Ooh.
And I'll be the first one. I'm in a thermodynamics class, and I don't know everything about thermodynamics. So, I'm throwing that out there. But I will say it has nothing to do with evolution.
It does.
And it has nothing to do with this conversation. Alright, before we get more into the actual subject, because we'll have like a whole time to talk about that, did you watch the Bill Nye versus Ken Ham debate?
I didn't see the whole thing because my internet was goofing up. But the only thing that scares me about Ken Ham, he's another one of those guys that is a good orator.
Yeah, you'd think that.
The thing is, I mean, he convinces a lot of people. Despite the fact that poll they took, a lot of people did agree that Bill Nye won, though.
Pat Robertson is telling Ken Ham to shut up.
I remember that.
Pat Robertson, I'll flat out say it, the quite senile old man of the 700 Club, tells Kent Ham to shut up because he's acting crazy. You know you're spouting nonsense if Pat Bloody Robertson is telling you that you are saying Christian like hoopla.
That was funny. I'm sorry.
Seriously. No, he repeated the same arguments over and over again, no matter how many times they were completely destroyed. His entire opening 25 minutes, like his main argument, was a complete tangent, having nothing to do with the subject. He brought in like 4 or so different scientists that were also creationists.
How's that?
No, he basically like had little video clips.
Okay.
And he's like, "See, you can be a creationist and do science." That had nothing to do with the topic. The topic was, is Kent Ham's creationist like viewpoint viable?
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Nye, bless his heart, he just was like, his like first sentence of his 25-minute thing was like, so I'm going to answer the question. And just ignored all of the complete tangential nonsense that Ken Ham brought up. Like, I was just like, yes!
He
dodged
the red herring.
No, because I was a little bit afraid. Because, as I was telling people on various Facebook groups, education is different than debating.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Nye is an excellent educator, especially to people that don't know the information very well. Like Ken Ham.
Yeah.
But he did it. He did very well. He did a very structured, well-organized debate. Bravo. And he left, basically, Ken Ham floored.
Now, I'm wondering if Ken Ham did this because he wanted... Ever since his failure with he had some other incidents that happened with the Ark and whatnot. I think he's just probably looking for more media coverage.
No, do you know what could have happened? Okay, so here's some backstory. The Ark amusement park is in the hole for like $19 million. And they need to pay that amount of money like this week.
Or it'll never happen.
Or it'll basically never happen.
Wow. 19 million.
They've already milked the town and all of their fundraising of upwards of like $25 million. And it's all basically going to go to nothing now.
Wow.
And there's like a pet like conspiracy theory that the only reason he did this at all was to sell tickets to raise money for his park. Like he didn't care if he just wanted people to show up.
So he didn't care how much of a goofball he looked like, as long as...
No, it's if Bill Nye went for the red herring and went down that road, it might have appeared a way more equal debate, and then he might have not come off as like a complete like idiot. But he didn't. So this was a complete waste for him.
Wow. He didn't take the bait.
I can't see any positive outcome for Ken Ham for this particular debate. So yeah, well done, Ken Ham. You have demonstrated to the rest of the world that no one should ever take you seriously.
But there are still people who have his back, unfortunately.
There's some people that will always have his back, unfortunately.
So, what does it mean to be human? Well, there's a characteristic right there that some people think is being human. And I'm going by what a lot of different people have told me. Some people think that it's natural for people to pick a leader and just follow that one person. In the case of Ken Ham, That seems quite apparent. It's like people tend to be attracted to that one guy who stands up on the podium and speaks out loud. And it was like, yeah, we're going to follow that guy to the ends of the earth. And they never question that person. So it's like, what kind of mentality would I call that? Besides sycophancy. You know, I'm trying to be euphemistic here.
No, I honestly think something like that is laziness.
Just intellectual laziness?
Just complete laziness. Is I don't have to think about anything because someone else is doing all the thinking for me.
That sounds mentally parasitic.
It is. Because it's easy. No, like, I have a huge number of stressors in my life. It would be great if I could just level it onto somebody else. But I don't live in that world.
No, not at all. Believe me, I have a lot of stressors. But you know what? I realize that I have to just deal with it.
It's not even, like, a lot of things I do, I elect to. Even if they're stressful.
Well, it's because you know that it's going to lead to a certain outcome that's desirable. You have to swim through the swamps to get to a grassy meadow.
Well, unless there's a grassy meadow before the swamp.
Oh, well, sometimes that happens.
Then you just stay the hell out of the swamp.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. But a lot of people, they like that swamp.
But it's gooey and full of plague.
Exactly. Well, let's say plague, maybe. I'll link to what plague is.
Swamps are full of plague. That is what I've been taught as a child.
Really? A lot of them died? Oh, that's pretty weird. You know, I usually thought that plague was spread by a vector.
You're a plague.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing a biology babble again. I need to stop. I mean, but you know, this question about being human, it's one I never really thought of too much because again, my original answer was just our genetic makeup, which reflects our behavior and our physiological anatomical characteristics. To me, that's what it means to be human. But you just have a lot of people. They look into it in a more sociological way. It's like they put a lot of morality in with it too. Like what it means to be human. Like you're supposed to help people. You're supposed to pick the homeless person up and take them to a shelter, feed them all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people, I would assume a lot of people are against the notion that people are natural born killers, going around killing each other and all this stuff. But then it also makes you wonder, well, why do we have so many laws, there to prevent us from doing those things? From stealing, from beating up each other, from murdering. Is it really human to do those things? Is it natural? I mean, because, if you compare us to other animals, I don't know too many animals that just randomly beat other animals up just to beat other animals up. Usually, if an animal...
Have you seen any animals before?
I've seen quite a few animals. But
chimpanzees go to war.
Yeah, but what is the reason for it? Are they
territory?
Yeah, well, a lot of animals fight over territory.
No, territory, food,
but
women,
I'm
resources.
I'm talking about just out of sheer fun and sport.
Dolphins.
I can believe dolphins and chimps.
Chimps and dolphins, it almost is like the more brain capacity an animal gets, the more likely they are to beat each other up for fun.
Isn't that's scary, isn't it?
I think they get bored easily.
And that might be it. I mean, think about it with the whole slight tangent here, the whole knockout game thing. A lot of the kids flat out said it was because we're bored and this looks fun, punching people in the back of the head and knocking them out.
That can kill people and make them blind.
They don't care. It's fun for them to take a helpless person that won't fight back and knock them in the back of the head because they're bored.
That won't always knock you out. That could just hurt a lot, and then you turn around really pissed.
Yeah, that did happen, and some of the kids got shot.
Well, I don't like children getting shot, but I also don't like provoking people with guns.
Natural selection. In a really weird way. So, I mean, but my point is, well, my question rather is it really natural for human beings to go around and just murder each other or beat the living snot out of each other for any reason whatsoever?
Well, here's the question, and this is like one of those things that comes up all the time. Humans are doing it, therefore it is natural. That's the one thing I'm just annoyed with, is the idea that there's even such a thing as a difference between synthetic or artificial and natural. There isn't at all. We just kind of we artificially created a distinction between them just because we think stuff that people make is more special than stuff that other animals make.
I remember we had a whole podcast on naturalism and everything,
Mm-hmm.
which was very, very interesting. I mean, us building a chair is, a lot of people would consider that natural because, you don't just see a chair sitting in the middle of the woods, but some human...
Well, what about that guy that grew chairs?
What?
He directs the growth of saplings, and he grew one to look just like a tree. He grew one to look like a tree. He grew one to look just like a chair, and he could sit in it.
Wow. I want to see a picture of
Okay.
that. Definitely got to make a link about that. But that is cool. So basically everything that goes on is natural. There is no synthetic, fake, artificial thing. That's what you're basically saying?
I just think, I think there's a difference between, here it is.
Because it seems like we like to differentiate what man does and what animals do. I mean, it's not like you'll find a can of soda floating around in the middle of the forest, and that is insane. How do you do that?
Patience.
If we post this on YouTube, we got to have a link of that picture alone.
I'll include the link of the picture.
That
This is actually an artist. He does tree shaping.
So he understands the plants.
He makes the plants his own.
Oh boy, we want to have a bunch of little Attack of the Killer Tomatoes going on now.
Anyway.
Yeah, so as far as humans beating the sound of each other, is that human, as what people call human nature? Are humans, quote unquote, supposed to do that?
This is what I think is just so stupid. Is why are we deciding what humans can do? If humans are doing it, then that's part of human nature.
But should we defy the nature of beating the living snot off each other or killing each other?
You see, I think there's a difference between, I think hitting each other is human nature. I also think helping people is human nature.
Mm-hmm.
But hitting each other all the time is counterproductive.
Counterproductive towards what?
Everyone not being bloodied.
Everyone not being bloodied. In other words, the integrity of human life.
The integrity of us as a species.
Okay.
Going on into the future.
All right. So it should definitely never happen under any circumstance, maybe except for self-defense.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, this goes back into the whole morality thing.
Yeah.
Morality is really just how people have decided to interact with each other.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I think the idea is if you live in a society where some people are always victimized, then that is a bad society to be in, because tomorrow you could be the person that's victimized. That's the idea. All morality can really be boiled down to self-preservation.
It's very dynamic. It doesn't just sit in one place.
No, it doesn't. There's actually a book I was reading recently, and there's the Bangladeshis or something was a group of people, and they had a rotating caste system. Every 5 years, the highest caste would be the lowest caste.
Wow, what the heck?
And you would think that this would be a brilliant way to make to make the society perfect, but it wasn't. It would just be once you became basically the slave caste, everyone treated you horribly, and you just accept it. And
everyone got a taste of it, but it's still adverse effects.
That actually is a really interesting social commentary. Is if we had that system, would we be better to each other, or would we actually be worse?
That's a good question. So kind of like the whole argument, the whole political argument. If we pay Congress minimum wage, how would they behave?
Yeah,
it's and how would we treat them if they were on minimum wage?
It's kind of speculated that if they were on minimum wage, all they would do is just increase their minimum wage. We get paid minimum wage, but we get stipends because we're Congress.
The thing is, without that substantial amount of money, would they even have the power to do that?
Well, I don't know.
It's everything they do is mediated by some sort of monetary value.
Well, it's more like they're funded by lobbies. That the lobbies decide what people in Congress do.
Oh yeah.
But you see, that's why I love the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing, where it's what is everybody in Congress? Business, law, business.
Law.
Where are the scientists? Where are the engineers? Where's the rest of life? And when I read that this morning, and I actually thought to myself, well, you see, engineers and scientists are out making the world better.
It's an almost thankless task, too, in some ways. It's like, again, I'm going off on a little tangent. I'm sorry, guys. If you were to go back, I'd say about 50 years ago, maybe a bit further than that. If you were a scientist, almost everyone knew about you.
Because what, there were like 6.
Yeah, you know, there was. You had like those major scientists and everything, but it's like almost everyone knew about you. They even revered you, even if in some ways they disagreed with you. It's like they still admire the fact that you even put in the time, effort, and money to discover the double helix of DNA and all this other stuff. But it's like now, you have all these scientists out, and yes, Richard Dawkins and Tyson are well known. But not nearly as well known as the guy who throws the football around the field, or the person who acts in a movie, doing stuff off the set of Jackass, or the reality TV star. Not to say that celebrities were never popular back then either. People always talked about Marilyn Monroe, Mickey Mantle, and all those guys back then. But if you were a scientist or engineer or somebody working in those fields, you were highly revered. And it's like today, it's like a handful of people really, really notice you. Which kind of begs the question: do humans as a whole prefer to be educated or entertained?
Is that even a question?
Yes, it is a question. Some people might
well,
disagree.
I don't know. It seems that people, I wouldn't even say entertained. I think people prefer to be distracted than educated. And I think that's entertainment is one of the things that does that. But so does religion.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, I don't see too many people with... I've noticed one thing. A lot of people nowadays don't really talk too much about hobbies. Like, even if you go on Facebook and social media, and I have like about 500 or 600 people on my list. And I know quite more people off Facebook. And it's like the one word I almost never hear about is a hobby. Sure, you may hear some people say, yeah, I play basketball here and there. Some people may say, I play video games, but... you never hear about people building ships, like little toy ships, or building models. You don't hear too many people, going around playing chess. These people exist, but you almost never hear about them. Even the reptile hobbies and the aquaculture hobbies and all this, even that stuff is going down. It's like everyone is talking about stuff they see on TV. They regurgitate everything that's on the television, on the radio. Right now, the big thing that's really distracting everyone is the George Zimmerman versus DMX celebrity boxing match that's supposed to happen soon. Everyone's talking about it.
I like to point out I had no idea that was happening until just now.
Now you know. Yep, George Zimmerman.
Thanks a lot, Dante.
I'm sorry, but yes, the very controversial George Zimmerman and the also controversial DMX, who's a rapper from back in the late 90s, I believe.
I have no idea.
That's why
Why are you looking at me?
That's why I'm explaining. These guys, they're going to have a celebrity boxing, and that's what's distracting everyone. But again, no one's talking about hobbies. No one's talking about painting or any of those things like that. So it's starting to really lead me to believe
anymore.
Yeah. It's funny because there's an artist downstairs doing all kinds of drawings and stuff. But in any case, so maybe it was a silly question. Maybe we do prefer to be entertained as a whole, at least in America. I can't speak for other countries, but at least in America, we prefer to be entertained than educated. And it makes me wonder how the...
No, you see, I have to be firm on this.
Okay.
I think it's being distracted.
Just simple distraction.
Because you have a hard day at work.
Mm-hmm.
You have kids that annoy you. You have a wife that doesn't care about you anymore.
Yep.
You just want to not feel anything anymore.
Drinking.
Not even drinking. Just anything to make you not have to think anymore.
And unfortunately, that's usually the
and that's why like, the obsessive phone games and reality TV.
Oh, like that bird thing that everybody's playing now?
These things aren't fun. They're distracting.
But some people are obsessed with those birds.
No, if you actually ask people, they don't think they're fun. They just can't stop playing.
Well, why can't they stop playing?
Psychologists are actually hired to make them as addictive as physically possible.
I must be really weird because, well, the Angry Bird craze is still going on. But back when Angry Birds really first hit the scene, and everybody was playing it and talking about it, and I was just like, let me try it out. And I put Angry Birds on my phone. I played it for a while, and it was okay, but I could stop. It was
it's like here, try smoking next.
Oh gosh, well that's a different addiction. That's like
it's not actually.
What?
Which is what's kind of funny.
The nicotine is different from playing Angry Birds?
So nicotine and stuff, that's a physical addiction.
Yeah.
But the actual addictiveness, like the emotional and psychological addiction, is pretty much the same.
Okay, you see, that I can buy. That was just
it basically excites the same pleasure centers. I accomplished a tiny goal and am encouraged to continue achieving tiny goals. This creates a false sense of entitlement and security in my ability to accomplish things.
So the goal is to reduce the cigarette?
No, these are things that humans want. Another thing that makes us human. Our constant need for a mixture of self-gratification and self-indulgence.
So it's like we're always suffering.
We are always suffering.
We're in a perpetual state of suffering. We always desire, and I'm not even talking about physiological stuff like hunger and going to the bathroom.
It's like, don't worry, Dante. Eventually, we're all just gonna die.
And that's human nature, death.
Well, if you ask any Christians, human nature is just human life is the doormat before the actual life begins.
If you guys can see my facial expression right now, it's pretty amazing.
No, and this is what's sad, is this is things I've heard Christians say.
I know. That's why I'm making the face. Because they truly, honestly believe that. Like, undisputed. This is why we're alive, so we can...
So we can wipe our feet and then go inside to the actual life.
Even though no one knows what it's actually like.
Well, no one knows it's even there, for one. First, we demonstrate that the God exists. Then we demonstrate...
Good luck.
No, then we demonstrate that the book, supposedly written by the God, actually was written by the God. Then we have to prove that it's accurate. Then we have to prove that the things inside of it are not only accurate, but also accurate descriptions of real phenomenon. Then we have to find those phenomenon and confirm that the descriptions are both accurate and perfectly descriptive. Good luck.
I mean, I don't even think we can get past the first criteria. Have fun with that. Wait, I'm trying to think. There was a conversation we had on one of our past podcasts, and you were talking about something that humans like. Oh yeah, categorizing things.
Oh! We want to do just straight up human brain nonsense.
Yeah, I think it kind of fits into being quote unquote human.
Humans are naturally solipsistic, which actually I'm planning a podcast for later. Spoilers.
Yay.
Is the idea of a big reason that religion exists is because humans are solipsistic. And for those who don't know what the word means, I know big words on the internet.
How many letters is that?
I couldn't spell it if you had a gun to my head. In fact, that might make me spell worse.
You have to spell it first before you can say it, but go ahead.
But yeah, it's the idea that people don't really grasp things that are outside of their own head. That's a really layman's terms way of describing solipsism.
Wow.
The strict, hard solipsism is the idea that you can't prove anything outside of your own mind. Because technically the world has to be filtered in through your senses, and they could be lying and whatever. We could all be in a computer game that I'm the only one playing and you all are illusions. It's possible, but who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a Goomba controlling the whole thing as we speak.
It could be anything, and that's the idea. But that aside, basically all humans are naturally solipsistic. Mm-hmm. We have a very poor understanding of things that we don't have either direct control of or have direct experience of. Mm. So that makes us really questionable of anyone else's claims. And this is why I think this is one of the reasons I think religion exists. Because if you have a outlook from the start that everyone has the same knowledge, everyone has the same senses, because you only have the knowledge and you only have those senses, then everyone's opinion is equally valid. Yours comes from Jesus, so you automatically win.
What kind of a twisted game is that?
A very annoying one that a lot of people use.
I have Jesus on my side. I win. Okay, roger that. So
it's
that
just,
kind of fits into the categorization thing, right?
Yeah, categories like humans have the tendency to just put things in categories and then lock them there forever. My favorite is compartmentalization. The idea that this is dubbed like the God box. I'm logical and wonderful and scientific in every other aspect of my life, but I'll never apply to this little God box in the back of my head. But even though I never applied to the God box, I'm still perfectly allowed to say that I'm logical and reasonable in every aspect of life. Because I think I am.
So it's like we selectively apply certain thinking to different things.
Yeah, but this is like a really like that's a really simplistic categorization. Yeah. But traditional ones are just kind of like, I guess it's really summed up easier by like when it happens in child development. Like little babies will think every four-legged animal is a dog. And this actually goes in the solipsism one also. If children can't, like really young kids can't see you, then they assume that you can't see them. We all know that little hide-and-seek game with the stupid little kids. It's not that they're stupid. No, but here's the thing. It's not that they're stupid. It's that they literally don't think you have the capacity to see them. Because they can't. Solipsism. It seems like a lot of people just never grow out of it.
So it's like the person just assumes that they have the same exact attributes as them.
They assume that everyone has exactly the same attributes as them.
Just kind of scary.
And therefore it has to... I guess it's also the traditional
So it's like misplaced empathy almost.
I guess. I wouldn't be really comfortable calling it empathy.
I mean, yeah, it's like they can't really put themselves in the other person's shoes. They assume that the person's wearing the same shoes.
Yeah, that's actually the best way of saying it.
That's the best way I can describe it. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's a good one, actually. All right.
Feel free to use that.
I will. I'll steal it without even thinking.
I'll probably forget it, though.
I probably will. That's why it's recorded.
Yes. Be sure to watch this before you...
Oh, and just a reminder, everybody, we're nearing almost the end of the first half of the show.
Really?
During the second half, please email us at drexfreethought@gmail.com or call us at our Skype account, drexelfreethought, all one word. And actually, at that point, I didn't have the Skype on during our January 16th show. So HTA 295, please call in. I am sorry for completely ignoring you. That was not intentional. Sorry. I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Or bad.
Anyway. Well, I guess we can finish the show with just much more religious notions.
Okay. That works.
There's like a lot of religious things about what being human is. Like one is having a soul.
Oh, that question again?
It's not even a question, it's a bold assertion with no support.
I still, you know what, all these years, it's funny. You know, ever since I was a kid, I heard the word soul and what's the other word that people tend to use?
Spirit?
Yeah, spirit and soul.
Holy Ghost.
Yeah, and one is used
Dante,
in... Huh?
do you have a Holy Ghost inside you?
What is that?
Did the Holy Ghost touch you?
I don't know what that is. That's the problem. It's like...
Dante, show me on the doll where the Holy Ghost touched you. I do not mean to make light of any of you, but seriously, this is what people think.
And I am guilty of using the words soul and spirit and everything, but it's like we use it in so many different contexts and everything. It makes you wonder, what the heck is it? What is a soul? What is a spirit? I cannot figure that out.
Well, no one does, which is why the term is useless.
I was like deep down inside your soul, you know it's wrong.
It's like, no, I don't. I know it's wrong because of this information that I already provided for you. What are you saying?
It's like people. I think people just use
Can you
that
take the knife out of my shoulder now? You didn't have to stab me to demonstrate I didn't want to be stabbed.
The soul. You know, or like, you know, I'll swallow your soul. Or I have you hold a man's soul in your hand and you tell them that they quit. You know, stuff like that. It's like, so many uses for that word.
Chaz is on the chat and he's just laughing at the whole Holy Ghost joke. You're welcome, Chaz. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Chaz is very anti-Holy Ghost, even though we don't know what that is.
I think the Holy Ghost was just a throw-in. I think it's mentioned sort of in the Bible.
I think it was supposed to be a woman. They just changed it.
There was like a hint that it might have been a woman.
Yeah.
But you can't have women be in charge of religion, especially important. All Mary was the dirt where God sprayed stuff into.
Honestly, no matter if it's man or woman, if you're in charge of religion, there's something wrong.
Yes, Chaz, I know it's part of the Trinity. Thank you. Sarcasm.
The Father, the Son, and the Ghost. It's like, where's the mother? Oh, well, she's not here. Oh, God is...
Yes, Chaz, I know what the Trinity is. Stop doing that.
It's all part of being human. Call everything a soul.
No, I think a thing that people tend to do, which automatically means it is part of being human, is finding shortcuts. And using a catch-all term that a lot of people in the country already believe is a good way of just rolling with it.
Convenience.
It's convenient.
Laziness, like you were saying earlier. It's very easy to just say, oh yeah, soul. That's it. Just soul.
Chaz, there's a delay of like a few minutes. So,
soul.
Chaz, just check your soul and you'll know the answer. You see, like, we can just use a whole lot of sentences just saying soul. My soul feels depleted.
Do you even have a soul?
Why is your soul so dark?
I have your soul. I made you say I quit.
My soul feels dirty.
And again, what is it? I mean, you could probably derive like 20 million different definitions just from that 1 minute exchange right
You see,
there.
Chaz brings up a good point. A whole lot of different societies brought up stuff like a soul. But, Chaz, I'd actually slightly disagree. There's, like, soul means so many different things. It doesn't just mean, like, bodily energy or connection to the universe or Jesus himself living inside of you somehow. Penises.
Some people think it's a ghost. Some people think that the soul is just a flat-out ghost.
A lot of people say it's the stuff that survives after you're dead. But that doesn't connect. Like, that there is nothing that survives after you're dead.
Some people think it's just your personality, all your emotions that are separate from your body somehow.
I know, and that's like, I understand why it used to be part of like human nature to think we had a soul, because we didn't have an answer to those questions. We thought our emotions came from our heart or our stomach,
and we still use heart. Like, instead of saying deep down inside your soul, we'll say deep down inside your heart.
In the cockles of my heart is a lot of blood. And now it's in my lungs.
And again, I'm guilty because it's just the society I was brought up in, you know, saying the word heart in that context, even though I know... I'm quite sure that there is no soul heart
This
thing.
is why I love, like, the origins of stuff. You know the heart shape? Where that came from?
Where did it? I heard about this, but refresh my memory.
It is a lady's posterior when she is bent over. That is legitimately where the heart shape came from.
Remember that. Why did they choose that, though?
Because that's what makes a lot of people happy.
It's something that we love, right? So basically, Valentine's Day is all about a floating red butt.
Yes, it is.
My soul is full of laughter right
Happy
now.
Valentine's Day, everybody.
Valentine's Day is about blood, massacres, and floating butts. And teddy bears.
Oh, yeah, St. Valentine is forgive my French, but a jackass. A violent one at that. Oh yeah, Chaz, the 4 bodily humors. When we didn't know anything about the body. We didn't know anything about the body.
We just...
Tautology.
Soul, spirit, ghost, wraith, spook, haunt.
But for some reason they persist, even though we already basically know that there is nothing like that. We can remove parts of the brain, and the things those parts of the brain controlled are gone forever. Well, most of the time. Human plasticity. Anyway, we have 13 seconds left. Thank you, Chaz, for joining us in the chat room. We welcome anyone else joining us after our short break. Since we started late, we'll only take a very short break of 8 minutes, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.